Man, what a weekend. So much to learn. Man, Friday, Junior Boogaloo. Saturday, Kumse. Sunday, Kid Boogie. Jeez, man. I'm super grateful for the people around me, that's for sure. Something I wanted to talk about today is just like part of this ongoing discussion, like thoughts that I shared in the last video, and some people, there maybe I messed up with words or miscommunicated, or people had a certain perspective of what I said. The thing is with these videos too, right, is like I'm talking to a phone. So to clarify ideas is like I get the return conversation and comments and DMs. So part of this is it's like an ongoing conversation. So I totally understand if ideas are miscommunicated or there's some sort of confusion on what I said. So that's why I really appreciate people that hit me up and like ask what I meant or just engage in the discussion, you know. And plus, some of these are just half-baked ideas, you know. I'm just putting them in the oven. That's all. And they're getting baked out there. They're getting baked with you guys. So, and that's a real important part, is like to understand the different perspectives. And so the thing I kind of wanted to talk about today too is this idea of like the miscommunication that I people thought I said throw out all the styles, and that wasn't my words, but I can understand that the way I said things could elicit that type of interpretation. So my apologies for that. The thing I'm trying to communicate here, and the thing I suggested, was that the event that I was talking about throwing based off of music instead of the styles, right, is because there is a lot of confusion amongst the styles, particularly popping, because popping has been, the words have changed throughout history, right? What might have been in the very beginning just a get down, or it could have been called boogaloo, right? Boogaloo was a term that was used for, it wasn't just for a specific style. Boogaloo was a term that was used for a multitude of styles that people were used in getting down, right, in the Bay Area. So then you have electric boogaloo, which is boogaloo with popping, right? Thus the term electric comes about. And so there has been a miscommunication about the definitions of styles. Animation too. Animation, as far as like animation became an umbrella term, was anything, like especially in Asia, it was anything besides boogaloo. So it was like animation versus boogaloo, and it was like, but they're just waving and tutting with a hit. That's not technically animation either, right? So I think it's really important that the community comes together and clarifies these terms. And like I discussed in the last video of like popping, and like understanding that, like after Poppin' Pete's class, I was like, dang, I'm not technically a popper, and from his definition of it, right? But then again, like even in LA, I had won a bunch of battles under the popping genre. So then all these judges have told me I'm popping. So according to their definition, I'm a popper, right? And then I'm doing tuts, waves, glides, ticking, slow motion, robot. And then those are, if you look at pop locking, right? Like the word pop locking was kind of this umbrella term for LA styles. So all these kind of fell under that, right? So it gets really confusing. And so now you have a generation of younger people, the next generation that just doesn't want any part of that politics, you know. Like they want the quickest route to dance. They want the quickest route to having fun, and that's understandable. That's complete. That's we all want to have fun. And the thing is, when you, especially with a style of popping, it's so difficult to specialize in this thing. It's so difficult to learn this style in its entirety, and that might not even be possible, right? But it's like learning jazz versus making beats on Fruity Loops, or making, you know, it's jazz compared to pop music. It's like that, right? So you're gonna have certain specialists that go deep into jazz, but they influence the rest of the music genres, like, because jazz trickles into whether it's pop music or rap or hip hop or house, or there's all these jazz roots that influence the rest of the genres. And that's kind of how I see these street styles, like the tradition of street dance, and they influence the modern day, you know, styles that came about, whether it's juking or flexing, or they all have these undertones, these roots, right? And I might be stepping on toes right now. Remember, these are ideas, right? So you can say that they were influenced by certain things, and I would, in my opinion, I would argue that they were. And the problem is sometimes is that one person is inspired by something that came before, and then, but they make it into something else, and then it kind of loses contacts with its original roots, right? So you can't really trace back to its origins. And that's kind of how history goes, right? With the evolution of culture and the way stories are told, and how history is lost throughout time. So it's super important that we try and preserve these stories, so we can trace back and give respect to where it goes, you know. And I'm not saying that everybody's got to be a historian and everybody's got to be a torchbearer for tradition, because that's not what everybody's life is cracked up to be. But we have to honor the people that are doing that, and we have to, you know, do our best to understand people's perspectives. That's just empathy in general. So like all these things kind of lead me to say, like, you know, there's kind of this divide with the newer generation and the older generation. And so and part of that has to do with the internet. So when I first started popping, which was 2009, there was YouTube, right? So there were certain clips that I would see, whether it was Salah or Poppin' John or different people, even elsewhere, right? Like all these people I would see in the beginning, and they cued me to dig deeper, right? They were my pathway into the culture. They were the ones with the clips online. So I was watching them. They led me deeper into the space. Luckily, from the get-go, from the first time I set foot in a place where popping was being done, it was Homeland. And I didn't realize I was in the midst of greatness, you know. There's just so much there for me to see and ponder and ask questions. And so this kind of exposure, right? This kind of exposure to the culture, it leads people that want to dig deeper, right? There's people that listen to mumble rap, but they'll never get into the lyricism of underground hip hop, right? Hey, it's all good. I'm not gonna tell you that, like, hey, yo, my opinion might be that music is whack, but to some other people, they just love the vibe, right? And who am I to say that your opinion of what you like is wrong? You know, that's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I would encourage is, like, when, even for the people that are trying to be free of all politics and tradition and all that, I get it. I also get the other side of, like, people wanting to carry on tradition and really understanding the definitions. So it's important to study and not be lazy, be disciplined, right? In whatever it is that you do. And what I would implore and encourage in the people coming up in this dance, in dances in general, is you are a movement artist. And there's always, I forget the exact saying of this, but when you find a good teacher, learn whatever it is they're teaching. So it doesn't matter what they're teaching, it matters how they teach it. If you find somebody that you go, oh, I could learn a lot from them, learn from them. Whether it's another dance style that you're not even into, you're terrible at, go learn it. If they're a good teacher, learn what they have, because you're learning their process. You're learning how to break down fundamentals, and you can apply that to anything in your life. So I love all the styles within, like, the umbrella, right, that we understand as popping, which popping is not an umbrella. But if we look at, like, the styles that are associated with it, waving, tutting, gliding, for me, I looked at experts in each field. I wasn't looking at poppers for glides. I was looking at jukers for glides. I was looking at flexors for glides. For tutting, I was looking at specialists, turfers, flexors, the moon runners out in Toronto. I was looking at these people for specialty, right? To add, to bring back into what I thought was popping, right? Because I always liked the hit. So then I have to study popping. So I studied all these things to try and combine into one style. Now, it's up to other people to define what I am. But what I would encourage everybody who's starting these practices is really dive deep. Be disciplined and go to these experts. Maybe you don't agree with them about tradition, and that's okay. You know, it's okay not to adopt someone else's perspective. That's fine. But recognize that there's masters among us, OGs that are still with us today, that are teaching these styles. And some of them aren't teaching these styles because it was never a financially viable option for them. Their story was never, their song was never sung, you know. There's so many people that are not acknowledged. And so then there's OGs, so reach out to me, I'll connect you with somebody. They'll connect you with somebody else. That's how it works at this point in time. Then you have all these experts that are like even the generation before me that, like, despite whether you agree with them on certain things, they are masters at what they do. They're obsessed with their craft. And find those people because they're gonna help you understand what it is to take your movement into that stratosphere, into that level of expression, both mentally and physically. What are they doing? How do they think? What is motivating them? What is the why behind their dance? And that's what's most important in pursuing anything that you do. Why? What is it that you value that's making you pursue this? Anyways, my 15 minute is up. So much love and respect. Peace.